Alright, so I guess this is now a 10-minute video, and this time we're using the new version 3 of the lavalamp 4K GPU shell script. So the file name is lavalamp 4K GPU 3.sh. So let me read a little bit about what has changed, and maybe I will feed this back to the Claude chatbot and see if there is anything that's new upcoming or has landed on ffmpeg version 9. So here it says, oh, I said please continue, so I have a bunch of please continue. Okay, so I asked it, can you please give me the full shell script with all the changes you recommended? Remember, full document with everything runnable directly, right? That was the question I asked. So this is obviously not the first part of the conversation. The beginning of the conversation was act as an expert, lead developer, software architect. Your task is to create a complete, fully self-contained single file HTML page about the programming language Rust to write programs that replace traditional shell scripts. So the idea was give examples where rewriting these shell scripts in Rust makes sense, right? Examples where rewriting in Rust makes sense, but critically also give examples where rewriting scripts in Rust does not make sense. So do not assume the reader has any familiarity, familiar, familiar, right? I can say familiarity. Has any familiarity with Rust, C, C++, or any programming language. Start with the basics, explain shell and born again shell, where they excel, where they fall short, and where a compiled programming language such as Rust can help you better. Explain the what, how, why, where, and when in all great detail. Start from first principles and explain everything in full detail. Leave no stone unturned. Please make sure to cite every single fact and every single assertion. So that's bookkeeping. So basically what this did, and I had a bunch of continue, so I had like a, please continue, please continue, please continue, please continue, please continue. So I had 5 continues to generate this HTML document because this is running on the Claude free plan on the Sonnet 5 Max. So difficulty rating, right? So it's running on Max. So it generated an HTML document for me. But the document wasn't really for me to read. It was for Claude to understand and have something in context, right? So then I gave it a shell script. It was called lavalamp 4K GPU2.sh. So this was the script that I have come up with talking to Claude and iterating basically, right? So over time I have iterated on this, and first I think we started with like a single image and just me talking, right? And then that evolved into a slideshow and then me talking over it, and then that turned into, hey, how can we make this better, faster, more efficient by shipping off the actual work to the desktop while keeping the lightweight parts, for example like me talking to this voice on the laptop, so I can still be in my room and talk to the and record my voice, but then the heavy lifting gets shipped off over SSH to the desktop that is in the other room, right? So the laptop is where I talk to. The laptop is where the final result, the video, comes back. But basically I don't have to do anything except run this shell script and then start talking. So once I stop talking, or once the 10 minutes is up, the recording stops automatically and it gets shipped off to the desktop where the processing happens, and then something takes that processed video and ships it back to my laptop for me to do whatever I want to, whether it's uploading to YouTube or whatever, right? So that's the 10-minute video that gets generated like this. Yeah, so now there are a couple of questions, right? Is this working properly? Maybe. Another question is, what changes with ffmpeg 9, right? I don't know. So there's a couple of deprecations. I don't think it affects anything that we are doing because we're using like H265, which is pretty much cutting edge. And we're making 4K videos, even though the renderer is only 1280 by 720, right? The frame backend is Rust plus rayon plus ffmpeg in one container in an internal pipe. The Python image is a podcast-lavalamp image, and the render image is podcast-lavalamp-render image. So this should not affect anything other than like lava lamp itself, right? So I have another thing going on for what is it called? Process podcast batch process, right? That's a different thing. So I can also record audio while the laptop is not connected to the internet. So so that's also another script, right? I start a script, I run a script, it starts recording audio, I press Ctrl+C, and then it stops recording audio, and then it saves it as an FLAC flag file. So, and then later I also process it similarly by sending the audio to the desktop, and there it generates the video and ships it back, right? And I can upload to YouTube from my laptop or whatever. So that is the other script which is not affected by what I'm doing or what I'm doing right here, right? So now I guess the next question is like, when this is complete, I will check to see what the output looks like. And this started at 6:19, so it's almost over, right? 6:19 is 6:27. It's more than 8.5 minutes. It's almost time. I have about 90 seconds now to talk. But once this is over, I will check what the output looks like. I will feed this output back to Claude, and then I will ask Claude to see what has changed in ffmpeg 9, and maybe I can ask it to use ffmpeg 9 for this particular script. I don't know if it actually does. Let's find out. Okay, let's find out if it actually uses ffmpeg 9. I don't think it does, but let's find out. ffmpeg. Okay, there's 31 instances of ffmpeg here. Yeah, I don't see ffmpeg container image. Okay, container image. Apt-get install. Okay, got it. So because it's doing apt-get install, so it's using the Python 3.12 slim file, and it's doing the apt-get update and getting ffmpeg from there. So I'm guessing it will not actually get ffmpeg 9 today. I don't think it can because it's getting from apt.